Brandon Explores is a UK-based outdoor and van life creator who documents a solo trip stealth camping and quiet overnight stays in places all over the United Kingdom. His content usually follows a familiar rhythm, driving to a location, settling in for the night, and cooking a meal, and enjoying the peace of being completely alone. However, one incident would leave Brandon shaken to his core. On February 11th, 2024, Brandon posted a video of himself spending the night stealth camping in Jaywick, England. For those of you who don't know, Jaywick is a coastal village in the tendering districts of Essex. Today, however, Jaywick is often described as one of the most deprived areas in the UK, not because of one thing, but because of years of neglect, isolation, and lack of investment. Many homes aren't even connected to gas, and public services are limited. When you combine all of these factors together, this has pushed most of Jaywick's residents towards a life of crime. However, Brandon wanted to see for himself if it was actually as bad as the press had made it out to be. His first impression of it was actually quite good, and even admired the natural landscape surrounding the village. Soon, however, for Brandon, this little getaway to the countryside would take a turn for the worst. It started with him driving, looking for a little spot to settle in for the night before it gets dark, for which he eventually decided on this little parking lot. Everything seemed okay, but soon enough, small red flags began to appear. One of the first came from a lone cyclist passing nearby, riding slowly through the area while blasting gangster rap from a portable speaker, loud enough to echo across the otherwise empty streets. As night began to fall, Brandon noticed something that initially felt reassuring. There were other cars parked nearby as he started cooking dinner. For a moment, it gave the impression that this was a normal place to settle in for the night, until Brandon realized he was now the only van left in the car park. And that's when the question set in. Why was everyone else leaving?
When I started cooking dinner, there was a few cars parked around me. There was a van over there. And now I am the only one in this car park, and I wonder why.
That lingering question was enough to make Brandon trust his gut and decide it wasn't worth staying at the parking lot. He started the engine and left. Instead of pushing deeper into the town, he drove until his surroundings changed, away from pretty much everything, and eventually settling in on an isolated dirt road. At the time, I'm sure it must have felt like the safer choice, but it would soon become clear that leaving the car park was a huge mistake. At around 2:30 a.m., Brandon was woken up by a sound coming from outside the van. At first, he was unsure what it was, but it soon became clear that someone was outside his van. Before he had time to fully analyze the situation, this happened.
Hey!
Whoever this person was smashed his passenger side window and almost immediately ran off after Brandon had shouted from inside the van. In his video description, Brandon later explained that the person had likely been trying to steal his fridge, which was visible in the front seat, a small detail that may have made the van a target in the first place. Although nothing physically harmful happened to Brandon, it was enough to rattle his core. This was easily enough to spook him into calling it quits and driving until daybreak back home. He still uploads his regular content, stealth camping, but now he will surely think twice before deciding on a spot for the night. On the 20th of April 2020, creator Noah uploaded a video he hadn't originally planned to make. There were no cinematic shots, no dramatic setup, nothing like that. Just him and his camera and a story he felt like he needed to tell. A few days earlier, Noah had been camping near Sun River for what he believed to be a quiet place to pull over for the night. A stretch of forest where he thought no one else was around quickly turned into something far more unsettling. Noah must have fallen asleep naturally because it was around 2:30 in the morning when he was jolted awake.
I don't even know what time it is, and there's someone walking around my truck right now. If you can hear that, it's pretty loud. He's been walking around for like 20 minutes already.
And to add insult to injury, Noah had even forgotten his gun inside his cab, so it wasn't even on him.
Minutes already. My gun's in my cab though. I don't really know what to do. I'm a little freaked out right now, and
The footage itself is almost completely black. There's nothing really to see, but what's missing visually is replaced by something far more unsettling.
how am I supposed to get him away? He's literally
Eventually, Noah did work up the courage to shine a flashlight to see who was out there.
I'm gonna try to see if I can flash my light to get him scared. There he is. Oh my god. Oh my god.
But as soon as he did shine his flashlight, the person immediately fled, disappearing into the forest without a word. It wasn't until the next day, once he was safely home, that the full picture started to emerge. There were handprints along the side of his truck, scratches in places he hadn't noticed before, and marks that suggested that someone had been dragging their fingers across the vehicle. Now, this does raise the question, who was this person? What did they even want? One possibility, obviously, is that someone was looking for an easy opportunity, a potential robber testing whether the truck was occupied. Another is that Noah's presence was never expected at all, which is likely as the person fled as soon as he saw the flashlight. But if he hadn't woken up, if the light hadn't come on, there's no way of knowing how differently this could have ended. Ian on YouTube is a channel run by 30-year-old Ian, who's been posting on the platform for the better part of 10 years. His content ranges from day in the life, work vlogs, and after-hours adventures, mostly focused on budget stealth car camping and turning his everyday vehicle into a low-key mobile home. While most of his videos are chill and practical, one night left him genuinely rattled. On January 18th, 2024, he uploaded a video detailing a disturbing encounter from a few nights prior, while stealth camping in a McDonald's parking lot in Palm Springs, California. Ian had plenty of experience under his belt by then. He toughened out far worse nights than this, pounding rain, blinding sandstorms, and blistering heat. Compared to those, rolling up to a 24-hour McDonald's parking lot seemed like an easy no-brainer. Constant late-night drive-through buzz, plenty of other cars scattered around, and his setup vanishing right into the mix without a second glance. Or so he thought. He locked everything up, dimmed his lights, and climbed into the back to crash. But right as he was drifting off, he heard the unmistakable sound of someone yanking on his door handle over and over, trying to get in.
What's going on, man? What's going on? What's up? What's up, man? What's going on? What are you doing? Hey, bro. What's up?
Standing right there at the passenger door was a man who didn't say a single word in response. He just kept tugging, testing the handle while Ian kept talking, trying to figure out what was happening. The silence made it worse. No explanation, no apology, just nothing. The guy acted almost robotic, unresponsive, like he was in some kind of daze or on something. Ian stayed locked inside, heart racing, but smart enough not to open the door. After what must have felt like forever, the man finally backed off and walked away into the shadows of the lot. At this point, Ian had moved his car to find a different spot in the parking lot to avoid the man. Ian waited a minute, still filming, then spotted the same figure circling back to the parking area, possibly looking for his car again.
There he is. I see him.
He ended up leaving entirely, heading to a different spot nearby, and managed to get some rest for the rest of the night without further trouble. The big question does still linger. Who was this guy, and what was he really after? Ian never posted a follow-up or added details in his description, so we're just left speculating. It could have been a harmless, confused person dealing with mental health issues or disorientation, someone who wandered off without realizing what they were doing. But the more unsettling possibility is that it was intentional. Maybe he thought the car was empty and was trying to steal something, or worse, he knew that Ian was inside and had plans to rob him, or just harass him. The strange silent behavior could point to him being under the influence of some kind of substance, which would have made him unpredictable and potentially violent. Luckily for Ian, he stayed calm, kept the doors locked, and got out before things escalated. He later called it the scariest thing that's ever happened to him in all his years of stealth camping. Encounters like this are why stealth campers hammer home the basics. Always lock up, have lights ready, stay aware, and know your exit. One wrong night and things can turn fast.